Today we will discuss about the functioning of offshore banking. First of all, what is an offshore banking? An offshore bank is a bank located outside the country of residence of the depositor. That is, an offshore bank is a bank located outside the country of residence of a depositor, typically in a low tax jurisdiction or tax haven that provides financial and legal advantages. That is, here the deposits of the depositor will be outside the country of his residence, and that country will be a low tax jurisdiction or tax haven country, or it provides financial and certain financial and legal advantages to the distributor. An offshore bank is a bank regulated under the International Banking License, often called offshore license, which usually prohibits a bank from establishing any business activities in the jurisdiction of establishment. That is, these offshore banks are licensed under offshore license. Due to less regulation and transparency, accounts with offshore banks were often used to hide undeclared income. That is, these offshore banking facilities are used to hide the undeclared income of the depositor. Here, the regulations are less and there will be less transparency also. Since 1980s, jurisdictions that provide financial service to non-residents on a big scale can be referred to as offshore financial centers. Since offshore financial centers often also levy little or no tax, corporates or personal incomes and offer they are often referred as tax haven. That is, since IFC often also levy little or no tax on the corporates, they are often referred as tax havens. While the term originates from the Channel Island being offshore from the UK, but most of the offshore banks are located in islands nation of this day. The term is used figuratively to refer to the while the term originates from the Channel Islands being an offshore from the United Kingdom, and while most of the offshore banks are located in islands nation to this day, the term is used figuratively to refer to any bank used for these advantages regardless of its location. Nowadays it is not only in islands, it is set up in different parts of the world. Thus, some banks in landlocked Andorra, Luxembourg, and Switzerland may be described as offshore banks. These are not in the islands. Some of the features of these offshore banks are that they provide greater privacy about the deposits, low or no taxation, easy access to deposit, at least in terms of regulation, then protection against local political and financial instability. These are the features of or the benefits of the offshore banking, that is greater privacy, low or no taxation, easy access to deposit, protection against local political and financial instability. Here, the offshore bank is a bank located outside the country of residence of the deposit. It may be in order to hide the undeclared income or to take the advantage of a low tax, or in order to escape from the regulation, etc. The offshore banking is simply a term used to refer to the use of banking services in foreign jurisdiction outside the country where one resides. That is, this is like a foreign bank. Any individual who owns a bank account in a foreign country outside their country of residence is engaging in offshore banking. If you are a UK citizen and open an account in the US, that can be considered an offshore bank account. In the past, there were typically only a small number of jurisdictions which offered offshore banking services. However, nowadays one can open an offshore bank account almost everywhere. Certain jurisdictions such as Singapore, Belize, Cayman Islands and Switzerland that are more renowned for their use as favorable offshore environment have a perfect blend of financial advantage together with the strong banking policies and practices. They have the financial advantages as well as they have strong banking policies and practices also. Because each jurisdiction is unique, they each have their own pros and cons, and so the choice where to open an offshore account will vary according to the individual needs and circumstances. That is, all these banks have unique features and unique laws and regulations, and the choice pros and cons depends upon the choice. For instance, if you are looking for investment accounts with a range of offshore investment advantages and options, Switzerland and Singapore might be the right for you. If you would like to open a personal account with a low deposit threshold, would rather do it all online, then perhaps Belize is the good one. Offshore banking provides a number of benefits that cannot be found in the regular banking system. These are some of the benefits of the offshore banking system. They provide a number of benefits. Second one, diversifying the assets across different channels, countries, accounts, and currencies helps to protect your money and reduce the risk of being left unprepared in case of bank failures, or if it is the process of it is in this we can diversify our assets. And third one is it offers wealth of opportunities as an insurance against the negligence of an irresponsible banking system that has overextended itself by having low interest, poor capital reserves, mountains of debt practically. Hence, it gives an opportunity of insurance to your wealth. It reduces the risk while increasing the financial freedom, flexibility, protection, etc. Some of the benefits of the offshore bankings are the high returns in international investment. Why people prefer offshore banking? The reasons are the following: high returns in international investment, economic and political stability, generate a higher interest rate. 2. The foreign banking system offers higher security, diversify wealth, higher liquidity, hold multiple currency, asset protection, account confidentiality. These are the major reasons for opting these offshore banking facilities. Then opportunities in overseas investment and international market. This is the first one. Many international offshore funds generate much higher returns through the private hedge funds investment portfolios not readily available to the domestic corporate accounts. That is, they invest in diversified funds and then these opportunities in overseas investment and international markets can be made available through the offshore investment. Banking in economic and political stable countries. There is a lot of political and economic uncertainty in the world. Countries governed by dictators or the corrupt autocratic regime face huge uncertainties, and therefore we can choose between the countries in which we can choose the countries which which are economically and politically stable to invest our assets. Then third one is it gives higher interest rate. In foreign offshore accounts, one can expect a much higher interest rate than the domestic. Foreign banks have safer banking system. That is, in some of the countries, they provide their rules and regulations are so stringent and strict that they provide a safer banking system. Therefore, we can keep our asset in a safe custody. This is another reason for opting this offshore banking. And this is an option to diversify the wealth and investment. Then using a banking system that is safe and has sound economic policies. That is, offshore banks are much more liquid than the traditional commercial domestic banks, and some offshore banks, for example, do not lead out any money and keep 100% of our deposit on the cash on the hands. And offshore accounts follow to hold multiple currencies. That is, we can keep our assets in different forms of the currencies. This is another advantage. Then this offshore bank accounts gives greater asset protection. That is, it pays to have well protected finances, and this is not to defraud the government or hide your wealth for tax evasion. It is for the asset securities. And finally, offshore banking adds an extra layer of privacy and confidentiality. That is, anonymous offshore banks accounts are no longer around, though there are still many layers of security and privacy that can be used to protect your name also. There is confidentiality, greater asset protection, then multiple we can hold our asset in multiple currencies. That is safe and sound economic policies. We can choose countries with safe and sound economic policies. That is, we can diversify our wealth, higher interest rate. We can make use of the sound safer banking system around the world. Then we can make overseas investment in international market and thereby achieve higher returns. We can deposited countries with economically and political stable. These are some of the important features as well as the advantages of offshore banking. That is, the depositor deposits his assets in a bank outside his country of residence, which may be due to the low tax regime, confidentiality, political stability in order to get higher return. These are the benefits of the offshore banking, or why people choose these offshore banking facilities.